Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable.
Yes, we have to deny so many claims per month to meet our shareholders' expectations.
Including children, have lost their health insurance.
What's so frustrating is that politicians have spent decades saying they recognize the problem and they make promises to do something, and then almost nothing happens.
You know what they say to themselves in the dark. It's only a crime if you don't wear a tie. We keep them all busy paying their fines. Hear the epiphany, light up the spark. You know what they say to themselves in the dark. It's only a crime if you don't
Seniors
wear a
are
tie.
the fastest growing segment of the homeless population.
And this is a great thing because it inspires everybody, gets the motivation to look up to the 1% and say,
now they're looking at your vote, they're looking at your anger, and they're moving to apprehend those who say something in anger.
Increasingly by choice or by accident, this is the role our nation has taken, the role of those who make peaceful revolution impossible by refusing to give up the privileges and the pleasures that come from the immense profits of overseas investments.
Hello, everybody. Hope you're hungry for a sentencing of nothing. I mean, we'll see, right? It's not going to be jail time. Maybe it won't be nothing. We'll see. Hello. Morning stream. Yes, morning stream. Because, hey, guess what? Things be happening. Namely, you know, a lot of standing around with thumbs up our butts, but you know.
Take your time with
Hello, Derek IT Pro. Hello, Mr. Miyagi. Hello, Trains and Bullshit. Hello, Priscilla. Hello, King Rex Comics. Hello, non-binary.
I remember my friend, his parents got him.
Hello, Zarina Chess. Hello, Blueberry Bumblebee. Yeah, this is not a time I'm going to be streaming very often. I don't care if this gets the East Coast crowd. Not a great time.
I was like, please don't break a leg, please don't break a leg. That was so much fun. Al, I'm not going to I don't.
How we all doing? A succulent early morning stream? A stream? Succulent English stream? Hey, little pink. Trying to see what
New York City
what
Pass.
so far
They
there
won't let me
hasn't
take my
been any
laptop. Yeah, they won't let me take my laptop out there.
You know, his sentencing is set to start in like 15 minutes, so
You do?
long to wait.
Yeah, I got you.
Would have been real nice though if all this could have happened, you know, like 4 months ago instead of now. You know, whatever. Your mic is too quiet. There you go. It's. Twitch chat still cursed to remain off screen. And YouTube chat, let's be real. Also, guys, really fun fact for you. When you guys tell me that the video is really, really, really high, I can't tell. Like, it sounds the same to me at this level as it just did. I don't like get the audio levels wonky out of malice. There's just genuinely no feedback on that front. What time is it for you? 3 hours after I went to bed. Are they actually charging him? I mean, he's already been charged and found guilty. This is the sentencing. Is he getting jailed? Probably not. But he is being sentenced some way, somehow. So that's kind of the interesting thing. Like, what's gonna happen here? Maybe you need a studio monitor, headphones. Pizza today with apple on it. Moroccan spice? Interesting combo. I could see that for like a dessert pizza, maybe. Here for Sleepy Jack. I'm very sleepy and very belligerent. Yeah, honestly, like, what I'm expecting to see here is, like, I don't know, Donald Trump being embarrassed right before he becomes president again. This is a state charge, Derek Itipra. This is in the New York hush money case where he was found guilty on 34 counts. No self-pardon in 10 days. No self-pardon in 10 days. Also, the Supreme Court refused to step in and prevent this from happening, so it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how a state-level court handles the fact that, like, this is a president. You know, this is a president, and they aren't going to sentence him to prison, but what are they going to sentence him to, you know? 34 felonies is a lot. Usually that's not a slap on the wrist, but, you know, obviously, we'll see.
The person in charge of that decision is the guy who also decided to fire the guy who won the last 6 political, last 4
From what I've seen, he's only going to get maybe yelled at respectfully. I mean, we'll see. I genuinely, I have no idea what's happening or what's going to happen. I don't expect there to be like, I don't know, something colossal, but I'm just curious to see the two-tiered justice system really fleshed out, you know? He wanted the sentencing to be canceled because he will become the first president with felonies on his record? Yeah, of course. It's deeply personally embarrassing for him. Honestly, it would be very funny if he was forced to do business outside of New York and had to abandon all of his holdings in New York. That would be very funny. There are, like, despite the fact that there is, like prison is not on the table, like jail time's not on the table, the next best thing would be, like, seizing his properties in New York. That would actually hit him in a way that would make him so goddamn mad, and it would be great. But we'll see. It's going to be an unconventional ruling, regardless. Non-binary, he's not going to get sentenced to jail. It's not just unlikely, it's not going to happen. Would I feel uncomfortable with the idea of Schadenfreude? No. Not at all. Yesterday, I literally played the clip of Anita Bryant being smashed in the face with a pie and was just like, you know what? I'm glad she's dead. Bitch made a new gender-neutral, bathroom. Was this a civil case? Nope, this was a criminal case. This is a case where he was convicted of 34 felonies. So, carries a bit of weight. Pieing folks needs to make a comeback. I agree. Fallon Trump. God, my voice probably sounds horrible. Let's see here. Okay, I was wondering if there were any other, like, cameras, live cameras set up, but this appears to be the place for, like, live coverage, so. Also, in case folks didn't know how desperate Donald Trump was to avoid this, he really tried to pull all of the strings to manipulate the Supreme Court into finding, into throwing this out, into making this not happen. Apparently, late yesterday, before the Supreme Court handed down its ruling, he directly called Justice Alito in order to pressure SCOTUS to throw this out. And they said no. So that's actually kind of a great sign, considering he directly tried to do as much as he could to make sure this didn't happen, and he still couldn't do it. Even though he is, like, right about to become, like, at the height of his power for this term. In, like, 10 days. Hey, Modhale. I wouldn't be surprised if Trump pulls a January 6th again just to delay it until after his presidency.
He does not include it in
I don't really think he can. That's not something he can do right now.
Yeah, me too.
This feels like one of those live cams, but they have pandas, but for police. It's just a hog live cam. It's okay.
For electric. You don't even get that in the summer. It's barely made.
On a normal one, I pay your $300.
Because ours is like.
AP has a slightly higher quality camera feed going on, but their audio is significantly worse. I'm going to stick with CNBC TV 18. All right. The courtroom for Donald Trump's sentencing in New York is seated at capacity. About 10 minutes to go before the proceeding is scheduled to start. Trump's attorneys and the prosecution team are not yet in the courtroom. Several large TV monitors are set up to show Trump's remote feed from Florida. I'm guessing they aren't allowing cameras in the courtroom, unfortunately. Members of the Manhattan District Attorney's Office have taken their seats at the prosecution table and in the first couple of rows for Donald Trump's sentencing in New York.
You're welcome anytime.
The scene outside Donald Trump's sentencing in New York on Friday morning was more subdued than the occasionally carnival-esque atmosphere that surrounded his trial in the spring. Dozens of reporters and camera crews were lined up, but few members of the public were present. Trump is not appearing in person, and it's bitterly cold out there. Yeah, that's how we know it's not going to entail prison, by the way, because he's not there in person. That's not something they would do if he was being sentenced to prison. At least generally speaking. It'd be very funny if there was a little switcheroo and they did put him in prison. But we'll see. Non-binary, no. Hey, Wand G fan. They're gonna go old school and exile him from New York. That'd be funny. But I think, honestly, they might just seize his holdings as a way of, like, recouping the financials. Or, like, bar him from doing business in New York. Either way, devastating to his whole thing. Is it a judge statement to the press? The legal teams are going to be talking with the press. Like, he's not going to be there himself, but his lawyers are. Okay, photographers going into the courtroom? Question mark? Okay, it should be started by now.
Stay ready. They just might be setting them up.
I think that's exactly what I'm using his cell phone.
Trains and bullshit, that would be great. They just recreate Escape from New York. Update as of 1 minute ago, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg is in the courtroom in New York. The office's top prosecutor made history when he filed the first ever criminal case against a former president. And, you know, took a year and a half, but, well, almost 2 years. But it's the only criminal case that made it to sentencing, so. What's happening? Donald Trump is being sentenced as we speak.
That was super weird.
Yeah, they already. I saw that. Both sides? Emil both.
I did not see him.
Him himself is fine, right, with the audience?
What?
Him himself.
Yes.
It's nice that the camera on them was out of focus. Yep.
I felt great about it.
You know what's really interesting on all of these? It's just hearing, like, the dialogue between, like, the people behind the cameras. Like, to someone, this is just a job. This is just another day, you know? It's interesting.
I didn't realize you can't shoot the back of his head when I walked in.
It's always been the rule. Remember? Shut it down.
Yeah.
Just don't move it.
No.
You don't want to be
It's not a quick photo.
Okay. Donald Trump and his lawyer, Todd Blanche, have appeared on screens at the defense table in New York from a remote location. Blanche and Trump are seated in front of a pair of American flags, and they are talking to each other, although reporters cannot hear the audio.
All right, the defendant, do you have anything to say before I pass sentence? That's where they might go on.
Oh, they're gonna give him a chance to speak?
Yeah, you always get a chance.
I shot at 24, I shot at 35, I shot at 50.
See, the problem is he disseminates so much bad information, it just causes a firestorm. Say, if his mouth is moving, he's lying.
It's the door! Hey, Stout Man. Hey, Bop and Wop.
He's left.
Any chance you go over Pol Pot today? Why would I go over Pol Pot today? He's just gonna pardon himself? He can't. It's a state level charge. Man, it's really fun to wake up in the morning and just have a bunch of people like, why are you covering this historic event? Why? Oh man, we're just looking at doors. Why even bother doing coverage of a once-in-a-lifetime event? I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory, guys. Justice Juan Merchan is now on the bench. Sentencing proceeding in New York for Donald Trump is underway.
You're not allowed in here left.
Now, there is some speculation that the judge is going to file what's called an unconditional discharge, which would basically be the judge kind of throwing up his hands and saying, you know, there's no punishment I can levy that would like be useful or have any real purpose. So like that is a possibility. I hope it's more than that, because holy shit. It's not enough to just be like, you did something illegal and then go about your merry way. Like, that seems really bizarre to me, especially considering like what New York does when it comes to like I don't know, like somebody jumping their fare for the subway, you know? Does Trump have to attend? Yes, but he is being allowed to attend digitally, so jail is unlikely. Yeah, Vivian, there's not... I looked around at live feeds. I couldn't find any from outside the building. Let's see...
Joining me now.
Oh, God. Yeah, all of the live feeds are set up from this hall, so... like, none of the other live feeds are outside the building or anything. You're early, Jack? Yeah, I'm real cranky about it. Just like the whole Pol Pot situation. Kadarius? I don't understand what whole Pol Pot situation. Like Pol Pot died in 1998. Why would I talk about him today?
I'll celebrate the end of the fiscal year.
I said you're a very generous man, and you generally give really nice gifts.
Do you ever sleep? God, I wish.
Yeah, I know.
Is it Pol Pot's death anniversary? I don't think so. That was in 2024 when I still had some hope left. Yeah. Hey, Underground Uncle, how you doing? Also, folks, remember to like the stream, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, consider dropping those subs and donos, because this show is only made possible with your support. I'd literally perish without it. Going to sleep after this? Same. If I can. I am drinking an entire energy drink, but that's just so I don't yell at you guys.
Bove is the shortcut with the ball. That's what I was saying.
On-screen celebration.
Yeah. So he might come out. We never saw him. I just don't want to hear that he's telling me that I missed it. We definitely did not. Oh, look, we use that as a anything. As long as it's not their fault.
Right.
They'll cover their ass game. Yeah.
No, Umar, it's pool.
Where's that?
Want photos?
I got Dave out there, so. There's Bo. Oh, there he is. I didn't see the chief front too.
Hello, Thistles for Eyes. I do indeed.
Where's Bill at the protest? We say hi to him.
Bum, 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 bum.
Hey, Bill and Tom, I'll be down as soon as this is over. Stay warm.
Fun stuff. You know, and that's the thing, right? We take our W's where we can find them. And while this is not going to... while this is not really going to move the needle systemically in any way, you know, it's gonna make him have a bad time. And I at the very least take some pleasure in that. Aurora Borealis at this time of year? At least we're having fun. Exactly, Lady Nova. You get it.
Are you going back there? Sure am. You put these on the cart, please.
Let's see. What's happening in the courtroom? We got some updates.
The first 10 frames are like wacky colors.
Justice Juan Mercan has been referring to Donald Trump as Mr. Trump, not using the honorific President Trump. Trump is participating in the proceeding in New York, remotely from Florida. Shark Nation, thank you for the $5 dono.
It would be really funny if he got sentenced to work in a McDonald's for a day.
Yeah, that would be funny. 2 lawyers who represented Donald Trump in the hush money case could soon get top jobs in the Justice Department. Cool. Hello, Dustin the Damned.
If yours went through? Oh, I can't see what drops into our server. No. If I have to get my laptop out the lobby. You didn't get a test?
I really hope he attacks Donald Trump's holdings with his ruling, because that'd be really, really great. It's the one thing that would actually, like, truly embarrass him.
I mean, I got one through.
Maybe forbid him from doing business in New York. We'll see. We'll see. Also, Shark Nation, thank you for being the first person today to support stream. I really, really appreciate it. Dropping me some subs and donos to get up early and cover history, huh?
Hollywood props.
10,000 hours of community service with minimum requirements for every week.
You get a can of flammable liquid and you hold it back.
Good morning, Quigley.
Great, it's the same thing.
Thistles for Eyes, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Oh, and you got Chai Halud too. Let's go. Did the unbanned friend of the show come back yet? Not yet. The timer is still going. They've lasted an unprecedented 40 hours. Our bits don't matter. Oh, 2 dads kissing. They do matter. I'm sorry. I just saw that Bop and Wop dropped 40 bits on a trans heart, and you dropped 40 bits on a gigantic ass in chat. Honestly, I get it. I get it. And I'm a Peaky Blinder. Thank you for the $2 dono over in Twitch chat. I appreciate that.
Story on everybody using nitrous oxide these days.
What? Why are the people behind the camera talking about using nitrous oxide? What the hell? You know we can hear you guys. Come on.
For a cup of coffee, make sure to get some exercise later today.
I guess I will. That's a weird thing to say, but okay. I've been running like 4 or 5 miles every day. Hey, Polydactyl Black Cat. Hello, Sky High. Man, I wish they allowed cameras into the courtroom for this. This is historic. How are they not filming the sentencing? They probably are, just not live. Little Morphine Annie! Yeah, we covering some history. First president with felonies. Ready for the most toothless sentencing of all time? Yeah, but I'm hoping for something, you know?
All the way back to when
We'll
we were
see.
stuck in that park, right? Shooting through the double fence.
Oh, you want everyone to exercise, Simric? That's fair. I've been doing pretty good this week.
Yep. Curtis, your stuff went through. Yeah.
You're welcome, LAC. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
He's asking for explanations now.
I mean, there's also an element of, like, everyone involved with this fearing retaliation from an incoming president. Okay, Prosecutor Joshua Steinglass, going over Donald Trump's conduct during and after the hush money trial, said Trump has been unrelenting in his unsubstantiated attacks on the court, judge, prosecutors, and others involved in the case. He called Trump's rhetoric dangerous, which, yeah, it is, but, like, what's the court gonna do about it?
I can't hear you.
Doesn't he also live illegally at Mar-a-Lago? I don't think he lives illegally there. Oh yeah, Derek IT Pro, what's gonna be fascinating, right, is watching this and how they handle the sentencing of Luigi Mangione. Because, like, you know that's gonna be front and center in cameras everywhere. Meanwhile, first president ever to get convicted and sentenced with felonies. You know, we're settling for the hall cam. Deborah Johnstonstein, thank you very much for becoming a member over on YouTube. I appreciate it.
Flamethrower, light the Christmas trees.
Just terrible what goes on in this world. Greg, isn't there anything you could do about that?
The sad thing is I've never been there.
Quote from Joshua Steinglass, prosecutor acknowledges that any other conditional discharge has the potential to interfere with Trump's obligations to the office of the presidency. We must be respectful of the office of the presidency and his pending inauguration.
I used to live right there.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, there's a hill, and it's all just like shitty, dry. All around.
Man, this prosecutor's like undercutting himself already.
Yeah, we'll go to the Hollywood Hill.
Now, prosecutor Joshua Steinglass said Donald Trump's attacks on the case and the people involved here caused enduring damage to the public perception of the criminal justice system. The defendant sees himself as above the law and won't accept responsibility for his actions.
No, Pacific Coast Highway is this. Sunset.
I mean, that's not incorrect.
Yeah, and the major.
Oh no, Dyke Spiegel. It won't be on his charge. He'll be found. He's been found guilty. It's not Like, he is a convict.
Or sorry, the 5.
He's just not, going to do
Is the
any
5 the one that
time
goes out
or
to Santa Monica?
have any fines levied against him.
Ventura. Is that
If
Ventura
the judge goes with unconditional discharge.
Well, they're all from Riverside. Yeah. Their parents were army brats, so they were stationed in London, and they didn't want anybody to think that they were British. So that's why they named it Band America. But their first album was all, they have a song called Riverside, Ventura Highway, of course, as you know. All of this, homesick for Southern California.
Yeah, they're talking about the California fires now.
Have you been, John?
Who did that? Tom Flash? I was there.
Their parents were army brats. We're learning so much lore about the nitrous oxide guys behind the camera. Hey, Paladin. How you doing? It would genuinely be amusing if Donald Trump was sentenced to 5 days in prison, suspended for 72 months.
Now they're saying there's fires in San Diego.
It would be very funny if they were like, they gave him like a handful of days in prison. And then we're just like, you're also going to serve time after your presidential term. That would actually be interesting. Like a deferred or suspended sentence. That I would like that. Not gonna lie.
Factored in the increase in winds. We work outside, right? Did you notice like there's wind all the time, not even when there's no storm? I've noticed. Blue sky. Old days, if the storm was coming, you might get
Wind all the time, even when there's a blue sky. So true, King. So true.
Now you have 2 weeks of blue sky, and there's 40 mile per hour winds.
As prosecutor Joshua Steinglass described the level of Donald Trump's culpability, the incoming president shook his head and looked away from the camera. Instead of preserving, protecting, and defending a constitutionally established system of criminal justice, the defendant has engaged in a coordinated campaign to undermine its legitimacy. True. Trump's threats of retaliation against prosecutors and judges. Such threats are designed to have chilling effect to intimidate those who have a responsibility to enforce our laws in the hopes that they will ignore the defendant's transgressions because they fear he is simply too powerful to be subjected to the same rule of law as the rest of us.
Was explaining it all.
The prosecutor said his office agrees with an unconditional discharge sentence given the highly unique circumstances at issue, which is such a bizarre thing to follow up talking about what a threat his threats are. Like, he believes he's above the law, so I think we shouldn't give him anything other than these charges on his record, other than the sentencing. Haha. Donald Trump is now making a rambling statement in his sentencing hearing, assailing the case and District Attorney Alvin Bragg for bringing it. Even during his sentencing hearing, he can't just be like, yeah, all right, I accept some responsibility for my actions. We cannot allow people to thumb their nose at the law, except in this one case. Blueberry Bumblebee, that assumes Kathy Hochul gives a single damn about assisting people in emergencies.
Before he got it. A gentleman was brought in from a law firm that was criminal what he did. He was involved with my political opponent. It was a legal expense. Experts who are
Yeah, we got a growing community, Lady Domina.
This is a quote from Trump.
This is not a case that should not have been brought. There were legal expenses. Yeah, well, so he sold gold sneakers to cover it.
Who's saying this?
Trump.
Oh, he's speaking right now?
Obviously, this did not work. I won. Well, no,
you didn't.
not in this
Did
universe.
Well, he won.
I'm kind of loving the conversation between these side characters.
They're one and the same. You can't be in trouble if you're in charge.
Too true, King. You can't be in trouble if you're in charge. True.
Kind of like you can deface the Capitol building, but it's
How much you want to bet they 25th Amendment Trump for this? That they're not going to do that.
It's fine as long as you wear a red hat.
Yeah.
It's fine as long as you wear a red hat. It's too true, King.
Well, you've got the defendants down at Mar-a-Lago moving their boxes around.
Donald Trump speaking remotely in court, recycling criticisms of the hush money case and the prosecution that he's made for many months now, citing friendly legal commentators and calling the indictment a witch hunt. He also is boasting about his victory in swing states in November. What a bizarre thing to do during your sentencing hearing.
They should have to pay because they fucking defaced the Capitol.
Exactly. Yeah, we probably have to pay for those repairs anyway.
We did.
So anyway, I did a few whippets before I got here. Nitrous oxide, man. Woo!
Trump says I was under a gag order. I assume I'm still under it. I'm totally
That I'm
innocent.
fine with. I just don't like.
Yeah, Distron, this is the closest we can get to the sentencing of Donald Trump, which is occurring right now.
Talk to Greg.
What live blog are you on?
Matt, Inner City Press.
Sit by you. Can I past you?
It looked like that door that Ashley Babbitt climbed through. That was like a 100-year-old wooden door.
Okay, he's done talking. You have a gentleman sitting right there who was with the Department of Justice. He got them to move on it. They called it lawfare. I'd just like to explain I was treated very, very unfairly. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Trump. So that's that. He had what he had to say. Mershaw's going to pass sentence, and that's that.
All right, sentencing time, baby. We're getting updates from the camera guys. I like it. Will Trump try and get the cops in the security cam fired for being traitors? No, he doesn't give a fuck about them. Mershon now handing down the sentence.
I'm sorry.
Well, I was like, I think it's like trauma. I got super hydrated when I was young, like 9 years old. I go to the hospital.
Come on. Give us one good thing. Dude's been threatening this judge and his family for months. Give us one good thing.
Everyone's sending me the application. Like, I don't have like internet.
Donald Trump mentioned former lawyer Michael Cohen, referring to past remarks. He was allowed to talk like he was George Washington, but he's not George Washington.
Get it done.
I know.
Unless you want to stay in New York.
Is it coming to an end yet?
It's likely yes.
So I can be drunk by noon and in bed by 1?
Looks like they're pretty.
Hey, Sakatanuki!
Do life sentences of supervised silent listening to abused women exist?
No.
Ask Bragg, don't ask me.
Sadly,
Because
no.
They are concerned that if people
But also,
see
thank
their
you for the
pictures, the
5 Tier 1 subs. I appreciate it this morning.
And they're probably not wrong to think.
Yeah, exactly.
A very, very stern, unconditional release. Yeah. I mean, that's the most likely outcome here, right? But at the same time, I'm hoping for literally anything else more substantial.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, look what happened with those two poll workers down in Atlanta, right? They had to move. They were threatened.
Imagine if the footage takes a turn and nitrous oxide guys suddenly start passionately making out.
Judge Mershad, I have sentenced countless defendants, sex trafficking and homicide. This circumstance is unique. This has been an extraordinary case. media, but once the courtroom doors closed, it was just a trial, jury selection continued. So he's about to pass sentence.
So who is the fat? So he's just going to get
Conditional discharge.
Apparently, Donald Trump ended his statement by saying, "I got indicted for calling a legal expense a legal expense," and that's what he calls covering up paying a prostitute. A legal expense. I do not need a month of Game Pass non-binary. Thank you, though.
anything with the word discharge. We just got to work it out, right? Like, it's amazing how many things he's wiggled out.
It's over. Where did it go?
Jack Smith drops those 2 cases. That's unbelievable.
I did everything right and they indicted me.
That cost the taxpayer.
Rashad, it is my obligation to consider all aggregating factors already.
Where's this camera guy getting all of these updates?
Protections afforded to the office of the president are not a mitigating factor, but they are a legal mandate.
I'm unironically turning this up because this guy's giving us up to the minute info.
It means you're just not going to face any punishment. That's what that means.
Well, he already said that.
Yep, no punishment. I want to know why they didn't haul Deutsche Bank in and all the other banks that were complicit in this. I mean, he said it many times. The banks didn't make money. They made money. They made plenty of money. What, they don't have their own appraisers? Tell the banks what the buildings are worth. Come on.
Alright, stop it.
Still going? Oh, you're scaring us. I know. That's the second time she came running down.
She got a hustle.
Jesus.
We need to be aggressive.
Bring it down.
I don't know. Lunch.
Is it noon already?
Extraordinarily early lunch.
Right, Jeff?
Let's gonna do this leapfrog. Sure. I need a new back and a new spine.
I need a new back and a new spine. Same girl, same.
Thank you.
Of course. Reports are coming in that Judge Mershon has handed down a sentencing. Okay, we got some activity going. That was loud. Doing the best I can, guys. Did someone get her back blown out? I wish. Gotta go file their stories. Democracy dies in broad daylight to thunderous applause.
Green cards out. Green cards out.
I don't know where my card is.
Green cards out. Green cards out. Green cards out. Green cards out. Green cards out.
Writing the blurb, as we call it.
Green cards out, guys.
I have it, that's all I'll say.
Green cards out.
Blue cards out, please.
Green cards out.
Return your cards, please.
Green cards out. Green cards are being collected. Green cards out. Guys, there's more on this.
Please return your cards.
Green cards out. Green cards are being collected. Keep walking this way. Green cards out.
Don't get the elevators working. Return your cards, please.
Thank you very much. Turn your cards down there. Green cards out.
I think he learned his lesson, given we gave him literally no punishment for it.
Green cards out. Green cards out.
I think the green cards just show that they were allowed to be there.
Green cards out. They're being collected. Green cards out.
Thank you. Yeah. For whatever reason, when I opened
Green cards out. Green cards out.
Hey, Gayfesh, how you doing? Nope. Happened this morning. Now the report is that the sentence has been discharged, but I'm not getting an update from Washington Post yet.
Only under the criminal Biden administration will so many people get into this courthouse with green cards.
Only the criminal Biden administration would so many people get into his courthouse with green cards. True. Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 gifted tier 1 subs single-handedly. Practically supporting stream today. Sake Tanuki, one of the rootinest tootinists in chat. It's true. Yep, there's the update. Donald Trump is officially a felon with a sentence of unconditional discharge. Sir, I wish you Godspeed as you pursue your second term in office, Justice Juan Merchan said after a statement explaining his rationale. Man, every system in America has utterly and completely failed to hold this man accountable for literally his entire life. For literally his entire life. The systems that have held him the most accountable are like bankruptcy courts. Unironically. That's the only like check on his power. Is that like a disappointment? Kinda, to me. I was hoping for something better. I was hoping for something better than nothing, you know? I was hoping that, like, he'd be barred from doing business in New York, or that they would seize his properties, or, you know, insert something along those lines, even if they weren't going to give him jail time. But now we got the most... It's not even a slap on the wrist, because a slap on the wrist would be a form of, like, you know, the state responding to this man flaunting the law. You know, like, Jordan Neely can get, like, choked out on a subway, right? And this country is just like, yeah, the guy who did it is he no criminal charges. He's free to go. But if you're a president who's actually convicted of 34 felonies, then they're just like, yeah, whatever. It's honor system. We're going to use the honor system for you. Like, what the hell? Our justice system is fucked. To not be disappointed is to give up on the idea of good. Oh, I like that, Derek IT Pro. You got a good turn of phrase there. It's pretty undeniably an oligarchy at this point. Well, yeah. We literally have oligarchs surrounding the president, dictating policy. Maybe he's being blackmailed or threatened. Well, he's definitely being threatened. You know, like, Donald Trump has been threatening Judge Merchan for literally like 2 years. And his family. So, like, there is an element here that, like, every single actor working against Donald Trump was putting, like, their lives and the lives of their families on the line, you know? What is good about this at the moment? Nothing. But to be disappointed is to, you know, believe that there was a possibility of good, a possibility of there, you know, us being better than what we are.
Thank you for taking the time to stream this morning.
Sophie Bliss, thank you for the $10 Canadian. I appreciate that. Okay, we get some more rationale of Justice Merchan. The president, the office of the president bestows far-reaching protections to the office holder. Justice Juan Merchan told Donald Trump before noting that the citizenry of this nation decided he should return to the White House and enjoy those protections. A sentence of unconditional discharge was the only appropriate sentence available without encroaching on the highest office of the land, the judge said. Man, you can't do that to this guy. This guy operates on different rules. This isn't even disappointing, it's insulting. It is. It is. Or even like a deferred sentence until after he's president, you know? Then at the very least, the second he is no longer president, you arrest him and he serves his time, right? We all knew he'd get nothing in punishment. Yeah, but you know what? It's okay to expect better than the disappointment of reality. It's okay to have higher standards than, you know, the powerful should get away with crimes. It's okay to be disappointed by this. I mean, Wanda G fan, he did literally steal nuclear state secrets and the court didn't do jack or shit. Yeah, but Mod Hale, like, I expect him to take those actions anyway. You know, like, I feel like that's, if anything, it'll raise some forces of the state to hold him accountable to a 4-year term if you defer the sentence. There are going to be a whole lot of libs that are like, well, he's officially a a criminal. Victory of the system. It's going to be really fucking stupid from liberals today.
Are you guys down? You shut down. We're not down right now.
Yeah. God damn it. We gonna get a live statement from Alvin Bragg, huh? How is TYT gonna spin this? I mean, they're probably gonna say it's bad. They're not so far gone yet. The fuck is even the point of making him a criminal if there's no goddamn consequences? Well, so that then people can be like, well, you know he's a criminal. Right? Like, that's the extent of it. The extent of it is that there are no ramifications, there are no consequences other than people are like, Donald Trump's a felon, you know, and that's it. You streaming later today? Yes. But I am going to be sleeping after this, after we wrap up. Yeah, I don't know what good I don't know what good all of this does if at the end of the day they're like, well, he's been thumbing his nose at the legal system, and then like, so we're not going to punish him. What a bizarre world we live in. W door, we love that door. We do love that door. We love the weird Dutch angle it's filmed at. Yeah, like at the end of the day, right? This is how our criminal justice system treats like every wealthy individual. If as long as they weren't caught with like actual blood on their hands, this is how our system treats wealthy criminals. Disappointing. Looks like we are switched out to an outside view. Not many people here, oddly enough. The interest in this was so low. It like bizarrely few people showed up. An invisible friend, it literally does jack shit for us, so nothing retroactive comes out of this. Yeah, a lot of MAGA is going to use this as a victory and say, "See, he was innocent the entire time. If he wasn't innocent, they would have charged. They would have given him a sentence. If he was truly guilty, they would have given him jail time." Isn't this a victory for them, though? Yeah, it absolutely is. They have to do that, otherwise the us versus the elites narrative falls apart. True. Trump makes me sick, that's because your heart works. Still don't understand how the 14th Amendment doesn't disqualify this absolute piece of shite. It should. But the Supreme Court specifically said, nope. Peter Thiel decided to write an editorial. Oh, God. Oh, we're back to the door. That was a twist I didn't see coming. I was wondering if we were gonna get like a statement from the prosecution, but I guess not. I guess they were just too embarrassed. Oh, God. Disappointing. Do you like propaganda for small lefty YouTubers? I don't know what you mean. I'd be genuinely pissed if I was a prosecutor for this, right? Like, Donald Trump's still going to be a vindictive asshole. He's still going to try and put a target on your back and the back of your family. And, like, he's still going to come after you for retribution. He's petty like that. He held on to a grudge against Obama because Obama told jokes about him at, like, a press corps dinner for, like, 16 years. Well, it doesn't look like we're gonna get a statement anytime soon. So in the meantime, let's talk about this Peter Thiel editorial, huh? I got a little bit of juice in me this morning. All right. So this piece that is published by the Financial Times is an opinion, and it's written by Peter Thiel, and it is bizarre, and I've only read like 3 or 4 sentences. So, what is Peter Thiel's fascist wisdom for us, okay? A time for truth and reconciliation. Trump's return to the White House augurs the apocalypse of the ancient regime's secrets. In 2016, Barack Obama told his staff that Donald Trump's election victory was not the apocalypse. By any definition, he was correct, but understood in the original sense of the Greek word apocalypsis, meaning unveiling, Obama could not have given the same reassurance in 2025. Could not give the same reassurance. Well, also, it's been 10 days, bro. Yeah, maybe he's got a little bit more time to make a statement. I don't know. Trump's return to the White House augurs the apocalypse of the ancient regime's secrets. The new administration's revelations need not justify vengeance. Reconstruction go hand in hand with reconciliation. Or can go hand in hand with reconciliation. But for reconciliation to take place, there must first be truth. You understand, right? Like when I talk about fascists like being like this fusion, or our modern fascism, being like this fusion between like motivational speaking and like, you know, self-improvement speak and like new age mysticism, and like the conspiracy singularity just kind of melds all of this together, right? Like all conspiracy like narrows down, but kind of on the outskirts of that pure conspiratorial thinking, you can get some formulations of essentially brain rot like this. Now, let's get on to the second paragraph. The apocalypsis is the most peaceful means for resolving the old guard's war on the internet, a war the internet won. My friend and colleague Eric Weinstein calls the pre-internet custodians of secrets the distributed idea suppression complex. DISC. Man, I love when a billionaire drops Eric Weinstein's name. That really fills me with confidence about their ideas. The media organizations, bureaucracies, universities, and government-funded NGOs that traditionally delimited public conversation. In hindsight, the internet had already begun our liberation from the DISC prison upon the prison death of financier and child sex offender Jeffrey Epstein in 2019. Almost half of Americans polled that year mistrusted the official story that he died by suicide, suggesting that DISC had lost total control of the narrative. Like, holy moly, we're just like... We're really... you know, corkboard and yarning it here. We're really Pepe Silviaing over here. That's great to see from one of the most powerful men on the planet. It may be too early to answer the internet's questions about the late Mr. Epstein, but one cannot say the same about the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Okay, see what I mean? I did not pre-read this. We are in conspiracy singularity territory. It's like almost like a verbal diagram of what I'm talking about. Like, it starts out with like this kind of new age mysticism, and it goes into like conspiracism about the deep state, and now it's talking about John F. Kennedy's assassination. Like, we're hitting all the greatest hits. We got Jeffrey Epstein in here too. All right. Man, I love being right. It's not great, but like it's some cold comfort in like this weird, bizarro world where justice is only for the poor. Or sorry, justice is only for the poor. I mean, prison is only for the poor. As a unfortunate flub on my part. It's very early. 65% of Americans still doubt that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. Like an outlandishly postmodern detective story, we have waited 61 years for a denouement, while the suspects, Fidel Castro, 1960s mafiosi, the CIA's Alan Dulles, gradually die. The thousands of classified government files on Oswald may or may not be red herrings, but opening them up for public inspection will give America some closure. And you know what? I doubt Donald Trump is going to do that. He's in power now. He doesn't give a fuck. We cannot wait 6 decades, however, to end the lockdown on a free discussion about COVID-19. In subpoenaed emails from Anthony Fauci's senior advisor, man, we are going all the way down to the singularity event horizon here. Oh my God. Anthony Fauci's senior advisor, David Morans, we learned that National Institutes of Health apparatchiks hid their correspondence from Freedom of Information Act scrutiny. Nothing, wrote Boccaccio, in his medieval plague epic, The Decameron, is so indecent that it cannot be said to another person if the proper words are used to convey it. In that spirit, Morans and former chief U.S. medical advisor Fauci will have the chance to share some indecent facts about their own recent plague. our own recent plague? Did they suspect that COVID was spawned from U.S. taxpayer-funded research or an adjacent Chinese military program? Why did we fund the work of EcoHealth Alliance, which sent researchers into remote Chinese caves to extract novel coronaviruses? Just going to pause right here to say, we did that so that we would have a basis of research to understand them if they came into wide circulation. You know, that research laid the bedrock for what we could do with mRNA vaccines in the era of COVID. Like, without that research, if a novel coronavirus had made the leap, like, without it, we would have been fucked. So, you know, like, now we have a vaccine. Yeah, because SARS and MERS happened. Exactly. These are not, like, it's not unique. Yeah, why do science? To learn more things. Also, the feed is cut. I don't think we're going to get an official statement. Just as a little update about the sentencing. Is gain-of-function research a byword for a bioweapons program? And the answer to that is very simply no. Gain-of-function research is to research how these different viruses gain function, i.e. how they can mutate in ways that maybe we can predict and defend against, you know, in case there is a gigantic pandemic. That's what it's for. How did our government stop the spread of such questions on social media? Our First Amendment frames the rules of engagement for domestic fights over free speech, but the global reach of the internet tempts its adversaries into a global war. I guess the secret war. Can we believe that a Brazilian judge banned Twitter without American backing in a tragicomic perversion of the Monroe Doctrine? Yes. That's like saying, can you believe that Brazil was able to ban an American newspaper? Like, yes, I do believe that, actually. You know, Brazil does have the ability to, like, do things on the internet. They are connected to the rest of the world, Peter. I don't know. How could it be possible for them to ban a website without American backing? I don't understand. Were we complicit in Australia's recent legislation requiring age verification for social media users, the beginning of the end of internet anonymity? Did we muster up even 2 minutes criticism of the UK, which has arrested hundreds of people a year for online speech triggering, among other things, annoyance, inconvenience, or needless anxiety? And it's like, as somebody who pays attention to, you know, political media, yeah, people were criticizing all of those decisions. None of those things were uncriticized in media. We may expect no better from Orwellian dictatorships in East Asia and Eurasia, but we must support a free internet in Oceania. Darker questions still emerge in these dusky final weeks of our interregnum. Can I just say, Peter Thiel is so high on his own farts. You know, like, he's the kind of guy, he's like Russell Brand, where he just throws out like a, you know, $1 or $2 words, right? In order to make himself seem smart. But dude's got no ideas. This is nonsense. And he's just, you know, you can tell I'm smart because I use the word interregnum. Venture capitalist Mark Andreessen recently suggested on Joe Rogan's podcast, God, we're doing all of the greatest hits of the conspiracy singularity here, that the Biden administration debanked crypto entrepreneurs. How closely does our financial system resemble a social credit system? And to that I have to say, not at all, actually. I've looked at China's social credit system. It is not comparable to what we have here in the US. The only thing this conveys effectively is I am smart. It is trying to make that claim, yeah. Were an IRS contractor's illegal leaks of Trump's tax records anomalous? Or should Americans assume their right to financial privacy hinges on their politics? Can one speak of a right to privacy at all when Congress conserves Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, under which the FBI conducts tens of thousands of warrantless searches of American communications? Also, didn't Peter Thiel kill Gawker? You know, I know that this is old news, right? But for being a free speech guy, it was pretty interesting how Peter Thiel bankrolled the destruction of an entire platform because they used their free speech to out Peter Thiel as gay. Kind of seems like he's only in favor of free speech, you know, when it's something that doesn't actually affect him. The second it actually affects him, he's willing to go back on all of these supposed principles. As a vocab enjoyer, I hate this. He's like a teenager who read Plato once and started using a thesaurus to make his screeds sound deeper than Dudes Rock, World Sucks. Well, no, he sounds like, you know, we've had chatters like this in the past, guys, who like come in after having watched like a bajillion hours of Jordan Peterson, and they drop philosophers like Kierkegaard. They just like name drop philosophers, and they're like, "What do you think about Kierkegaardian morality?" And it's just like, what? I don't. We're talking about like material issues right now. I don't care about Kierkegaard. You know, like they just want to seem smart. They are desperate to seem smart. I don't know what's happening here, but whatever. South Africa confronted its apartheid history with a formal commission. But answering the questions above with piecemeal declassifications would befit both Trump's chaotic style and our internet world, which processes and propagates short packets of information. The first Trump administration shied away from declassifications because it still believed in the right-wing deep state of an Oliver Stone movie. This belief has faded. It has not. They talk about it all the time. They like conservatives literally will not shut up about the deep state. The entire premise of Project 2025 was to eliminate, you know, any administrative hurdles to Trump's second administration, and that's effectively them taking care of the deep state. And honestly, Peter Thiel, I think he knows that. He's just being dishonest. Our ancient regime, like the aristocracy of pre-revolutionary France, thought the party would never end. And you know, Peter Thiel, maybe the last thing you want to be invoking in your writing is pre-revolutionary France. Because guess what? That didn't end well for guys like you. Just saying, maybe the fact that you are seeing that and you're saying, yes, we are pre-revolutionary France, but I'm one of the rebellion leaders. I'm one of the guys that's going to be wielding power during the revolution. And it's like, no, guy, that is not how the French Revolution worked in this case. You are the new aristocracy, my guy. Like, I keep pressing this button out of habit. 2016 shook their historicist faith in the arc of the moral universe, but by 2020 they hoped to write Trump off as an aberration. In retrospect, 2020 was the aberration, the rearguard action of a struggling regime and its Stroldbrug ruler. I gotta be honest, I'm gonna Google this one. What is Stroldbrug? I have never heard that term before. Oh, it's a reference to Gulliver's Travels. The name Stroldbrug is given to those humans in the nation of Lugnag who are born seemingly normal but are in fact immortal. Although Stroldbrugs do not die, they do continue aging. That's kind of horrifying. I love that. I'm stealing that concept for my D&D campaign. So, honestly, a fitting usage of the term for Joe Biden. There will be no reactionary restoration of the pre-internet past. The future demands fresh and strange ideas. New ideas might have... You also might be wondering why he keeps bringing up, like, the pre-internet past. It's because he's heavily invested in, like, internet surveillance, in, like, digital surveillance technology. That's the entire premise of his Palantir company. It's just privatized surveillance that they then sell to, like, police and such. It's because he's a fascist? Yes, of course he's a fascist. I've been really reinforcing that throughout this, I think. Now, new ideas might have saved the old regime, which barely acknowledged, let alone answered, our deepest questions. The causes of the 50-year slowdown in scientific and technological progress in the U.S., the racket of crescendoing real estate prices, and the explosion of public debt. Yeah, said the billionaire. How could we have... Where could these problems be rooted? He wonders as he lays atop his Scrooge McDuck vault of cash. Who on earth could be taking advantage of labor to wring such profits out of them? He says, doing the backstroke in $1,000 bills. Perhaps an exceptional country could have continued to ignore such questions, but as Trump understood in 2016, America is not an exceptional country. It is no longer even a great one. Identity politics endlessly relitigates ancient history. The study of recent history, to which the Trump administration is now called, is more treacherous and more important. The apocalypsis cannot resolve our fights over 1619, but it can resolve our fights over COVID-19. It will not adjudicate the sins of our first rulers, but the sins of those who govern us today. The internet will not allow us to forget those sins, but with the truth, it will not prevent us from forgiving. So Peter Thiel's just, like, fucking insane. Is kind of what I'm taking away from this. This was like the Gwyneth Paltrow goop of tech bro speak. Like this was just new age nonsense packaged as if it's a profound political analysis. Like, this guy has helped create the problems he listed off. Like, when you ask yourself, you know, who's behind the soaring home prices? The answer is private capital. The answer is, like, what real estate developers are investing in. And they're investing in luxury homes, luxury apartments, because they don't need to sell as many of those in order to make a profit. You know, what about or Airbnbs commodifying empty units, or, you know, BlackRock investing in speculative properties, buying up neighborhoods to then rent out and become essentially de facto apartment holdings over house lots. You know, the people doing that are millionaires and billionaires. They are people who are making their living playing the stock market. You know, like, these are, the entire premise here is what made Peter Thiel big in the first place. the same systems are what make America immiserated, what make the working class in America miserable, right? And the other part of this is that he's talking about like the information economy, and his entire record is not that he wants free exchange of ideas. Peter Thiel wants more information to feed to his surveillance programs. That's what he wants. That's why he wants online only shit. It's because he can't control conversations that are offline. You know? It's not radical stuff. It's just fascism. Like when he talks about like Donald Trump understood in 2016, Donald Trump didn't understand anything. The entire reason Donald Trump has been able to rise to power again and again is because he understands power. That's what he understands. And he also, on some level, intuitively has stumbled across the idea that the neoliberal establishment is utterly and completely incapable of addressing the economic concerns of everyday Americans, and thus he is able to prey upon those concerns. That is the entire premise of the anti-immigration rhetoric. The entire premise being, we're spending too much of the state's money on these undocumented immigrants, and also, that money could be going to tax cuts for you. And also, they're competing for your jobs, so they're driving down your wages. And like his entire proposition to the working class in America, and that has, it is, whether folks want to recognize it or not, rooted in concerns that working class voters have. It doesn't matter that, the factual information about it is untrue. What matters is they have grown up in an environment where people have repeated uncritically for the last, 150 years that the reason you can't get a good job is because of the dang immigrants. That's a commonly accepted myth all across the United States in a lot of different places. And it's really interesting, right? Because that should be really easy to counter. But the neoliberal establishment, which has largely subsumed the liberal establishment in America following, the rise of the Clintons in the 90s, they can't answer those economic fears and concerns that the racist narrative and xenophobic narrative steps in to explain. And so instead of trying to fix those underlying problems, they simply say the problems don't exist. Like, actually, things are great for you. Shut the fuck up. And that is not actually a compelling argument. And saying, well, we're going to give some aid to some of you in bad economic circumstances, that is also not compelling. Because for the vast majority of people, they're not going to get that assistance. They have to rationalize their racism. What better way to rationalize it than economic issues? It's not even, I don't think it's a one-way street like that. I think it can be both, I think it can go both ways. There are going to be people who use the economic concerns to justify their racism, and there are going to be people who use the racism to justify their economic concerns. Like, it goes both ways. But I think the overwhelming majority of people, when you dig down into it, are not doing it out of like racial malice, but they're doing it because they genuinely believe the economic narrative. When you grew up with that narrative, and your pappy grew up with that narrative, and their father grew up with that narrative, and their father grew up with that narrative, it seems a lot more true. And seeming true is what's important to a lot of people because they don't got the time or the energy or the willpower to look it up and verify it and do like a research paper on what the economics of immigration are. And having done something along those lines, I can tell you that even the most hardline conservative estimates of immigration effects on the economy indicate that it is positive for Americans. Immigration raises wages. Immigration benefits the larger society. It fills necessary jobs. It's a lot of good things come out of immigration. And the issue is a lot of people don't know that because they do not have access to that information and they don't even know enough to be curious enough to check if that information is correct or what they believe is correct, rather. The court video is available. Let's take a look. Not seeing it. Yeah, nah. Newsmax 2. Okay. Newsmax 2. Looks like they're going over the court, but it doesn't have the footage. Yeah, no, it's just still images. Really? Yeah, really. Yeah, this is not the court. That these are still images. Apparently on Twitter, Anna from TYT was blaming homeless orgs for the fires in LA. Don't have Twitter. Yeah. Well, funny story that I have a video about TYT coming out in. Well, actually, it came out like 15 minutes ago, so you guys can check that out. It's all good, axolotls with cream. An example of that point that people don't have time to look things up is the phrase "cold as hell" is not cold as hell, but cold as hail. Nobody looks it up, but logically and according to the dictionary, the phrase is cold as hail. I've never heard that. But also, language doesn't evolve based on logical systems. Like illogical things and associations can develop, and that's fine. It's less. I think that's less demonstrative than of what I'm talking about than like. Maybe like the idea that IQ is a great benchmark for how intelligent someone is. Like I think that's a far more like pernicious idea in our society, and that's deeply rooted in eugenics, and also IQ tests were developed to test literacy of French children. So like, it's a lot of goofiness about what people believe. Gonna duck out. The milquetoast sentencing is getting me brain gremlin-y. Have a good one. That's fair. Also, folks, if you enjoyed the stream, consider hitting the follow button, the subscribe button, hit the like button on the YouTube stream, and consider dropping those subs and donos, because sometimes this job kind of sucks. Let's see. Fuck eugenics, true. Do remember that according to the chronicler, the center of hell is cold. It's true. Dante's Inferno proved it. Really good to see you again. I'm glad to see you too, sweetness. I did just learn that pulling yourself up by the bootstraps used to mean it was impossible to do alone. Yeah, it originated as a socialist critique of capitalism, and then capitalism was just like, actually, that's a great phrase. We're going to mainstream it and have the working class repeated ad nauseum, and it's going to be real sick and funny because you can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Trump is just rambling right now. Yeah. I've got to be honest. I think largely, while I believe that what the things that a president say matter, I'm going to be trying to focus less on just like what Donald Trump is saying. You know, like we already did a story about how he wants to invade Mexico and Canada and Greenland and Panama, and like we don't need to give him more airtime, frankly. Like what really matters is what he actually does, cuz until he actually does something, he's going to contradict himself the second it becomes convenient to do so, you know? Dante's Inferno was political satire, not an actual religious text. Yeah, and doesn't matter. Still became highly influential, dictated like the entire aesthetic of Christian religiosity for like the next 1,000 years. Same with what's it called? The why am I blanking on this? The earlier one. Fuck. Paradise Lost. Jesus. Fuck me. Doesn't matter that they were talking about different things. You know, it became incorporated into the actual understanding of religion and catchphrases and all that stuff. Fox Girl Zoe, I'm glad you enjoyed the What If Alt Hist vid. We're going to be doing another one probably soon-ish. I don't know if we'll get to it tonight, because, God, I feel awful right now. Yeah, like, I don't know, guys. What's really interesting to me about Donald Trump's sentencing today is that, you know, the court seems like it's trying to protect like the prosecutors and the judge, but like immediately after this, he's on social media tweeting about how this exonerates him. There's no case. There was never a case. You know, like they're really like he was gonna do that no matter what happened. I don't know why Trump is freaking out, because it's embarrassing, and also because if he takes the time now to say, see, look how it's all rigged against me, you know, he solidifies the narrative in his followers' minds that he didn't do anything wrong and that this was all fabricated, you know? Doesn't matter what's true or not anymore. In the minds of his audience, like, he didn't go to jail, he didn't do the crime. I'm stupid. What does it mean to be discharged? Basically, Bastion, it means that the court said he's going to be president soon, and there's no realistic way we can levy, a sentence on him that will mean anything, given the protections he will enjoy once he's president. So we're just not going to give any criminal punishment whatsoever, but the conviction still stands. So he still is a convicted felon. He just doesn't have any punishment for it. Well, that's the thing, right? Like, if you make a big deal about how the slap on the wrist actually vindicates your entire innocence, like, then you can fully and truly control the narrative for your audience, right? Do you think they'll go after this judge? I think Donald Trump will go after prosecutors and judges who were aligned against him, yeah. That means he can't own a gun, amongst other things, right? It doesn't mean shit. In no meaningful way will he be constrained. You know, like, he's going to continue owning guns. He's gonna, like, it doesn't matter. None of the restrictions placed on felons are going to be applied to him. He could literally walk down the street tomorrow, like, with a gun strapped to his waist. His entire audience would soy jack about it. And then, you know, someone would be like, hey, technically that's illegal. And he'd be like, yeah, what are you going to do about it? And then, like, shoot them in the middle of Fifth Avenue, you know? Like, and then face no consequences. Yeah, if I were Jack Smith, I would not be in America. I would move to Iceland, you know, some kind of country that doesn't have an extradition treaty with the US. What is soy jack? It means, like, the... Here, it's better to just show you. You've seen them before. Like, these are soy jacks, or examples of them. Iceland will soon be part of the Lebensraum. Well, no, because if Donald Trump does actually invade Greenland, that would trigger a world war. So, I don't think it's gonna go down that way. Aren't those shitty ass 4chan comics? Yes. 4chan makes a huge number of memes that make it mainstream over time. People were saying the same thing about Hitler. I didn't say he wouldn't do it. I just said he would trigger a world war, which is true. Well, yeah, guys, Greenland is a part of Denmark sorry, Greenland is a territory of Denmark. If Donald Trump takes over Greenland, that is an act of war against Denmark. We are then at war with Denmark. Denmark is part of like several different defensive treaties outside of NATO. So even if NATO Article 5 didn't trigger, the entire Nordic country bloc would be aligned against us. The EU would be aligned against us. It would be a fucking world war. Like, this isn't like a, oh, well, you know, they'll take Greenland, you know, whatever. No, this would literally be nuclear war territory with Europe. I'm not saying, like, Donald Trump wouldn't do that. I'm just saying, like, that would be the consequence of doing it. Next season of Planet Earth, ramping up to be a real nail-biter. Yeah, I hate the cliffhanger we're on right now. Is Panama under any treaties? Good question. What defensive pacts do they got? I'm guessing no. Maybe with Brazil, though. Let's see. Panama defensive treaties. Mm-hmm. Surprisingly hard to get a straightforward answer to this. Let's see. So invading Panama could trigger the Rio Treaty, which is a defensive treaty between the United States and several other countries. And even if the United States were to break that, I imagine other countries would come to the assistance of Panama. Let's see here. The Rio Treaty goes further beyond the traditional justification for exercising the right to self-defense, namely an armed attack. Article 6 expands the grounds for the activation of this instrument of mutual defense. One, armed attack within the region of Article 4 by a non-American or by an American state. Armed attack outside the region of Article 4 but within the territory of an American state. Okay. Thus, the conditions for the activation of this collective self-defense pact, while building on the traditional justification of armed attack enshrined in Article 51 of the UN Charter, are also quite expansive as they cover acts of aggression that might not be considered armed attacks. An important case in point to which I shall return at the end of this essay is the activation of the Rio Treaty by the United States in the aftermath of the 9/11 terrorist attacks, which, whether construed as an armed attack or not, certainly qualified as an act or situation that engendered the peace of the continent and of the world. Okay. So the Rio Treaty applies to American states, i.e., any state located in the Americas, whether North, Central, or South America, as well as Caribbean states. So basically, it's not exactly straightforward what would happen if the United States were to be the activator behind this. But it wouldn't be good. Let's sum it up that way. Doesn't the Panama Canal have some ties with China? The Panama Canal is administered by a Hong Kong-based company, but that company is not associated with the Chinese state. There are no like Chinese military units in the canal. If we invade Panama, our country will our economy will explode. True. You telling me Trump lied? You mean someone would do that? Just go on the internet and lie? Oh my god. Non-binary, that's what being administered by the Hong Kong-based company means. Panama owns the canal. They just have a private company from Hong Kong administering it. I heard they were eating succulent Chinese meals near the Panama Canal. It's true. It's true. The only way to combat this MAGA insanity is to be more gay and more trans? No, the only way to combat this MAGA insanity is to get involved with your local politics. To actually do shit. It's not enough to just be like visibly gay or visibly trans. You gotta actually involve yourself in the political system. You actually have to become an agent of the change you want to see. And if you want to be more gay and more trans visibly while you do that, like, more power to you. But like the actual thing that matters is involving yourself in politics. Because if you're not in the room, I guarantee you MAGA moms are going to be getting on your school board. If Trump invades Panama, nothing will happen. Bush Sr. invaded Panama to get rid of Noriega, and nothing really happened. The point being, it's not clear what would happen if the U.S. did invade Panama. It's just that Panama is much more susceptible to military coercion. Greenland, though, I think is, like, not realistic. If we're going by what is most likely to happen, like, Donald Trump could use the U.S. military to retake the Panama Canal. That is a possibility. Guessing some limited operations in Mexico. I think those two things are the most likely to happen, given like the history of like conservative agitation on both those points. But Canada becoming a state or Greenland becoming a state, those are things I don't really I don't really see a pathway towards that happening. Largely because there are nuclear deterrents in, well, maybe not Canada's case. I don't know what countries Canada has defense alliances with outside of the United States. Canada will fight you. Any country that is being invaded will fight back, but like We are going to be the new global pariah. Pariah? Yeah. Yeah. Well, yes, the UK has nukes, but I don't know that the UK would use them to defend. I don't. Let me put it this way: I don't know that invading Canada would cause the UK to like declare war on America. Like I just don't know what their diplomatic positioning is vis-a-vis the rest of the world. Canada has the same tech as us pretty much. They do not, but also yes, they do have a sizable military, guys. But understand, having a sizable military does not mean it's impossible to invade. We're talking about like a madman being in charge of the United States of America. Like the more realistic nuclear scenario is if Donald Trump tries to take Greenland, because that would trigger again countries that have nukes in them into a global war with the United States. Does the UK have ICBMs? Yes. What I'm trying to say is it would be devastating. Absolutely. I'm under no illusions that a war with Mexico would be devastating. A war between the U.S. and Denmark would be devastating. A war with the U.S. and Panama would be devastating. They're all devastating. It's war. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if using the War of 1812 is particularly useful here, since diplomatic ties between countries have changed in the last 213 years. Any update on the What If Alt Hist Part 2 video? We're gonna get there. I was gonna do it yesterday, but I felt crummy, and I still feel crummy. Oh, Paladin, I don't think I can take it this early in the morning. I could do one, I couldn't do two. But folks, if you've been enjoying the stream, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and consider dropping those subs and donos so that I can continue to live. Maybe buy myself some Dunkin' Donuts. Who am I kidding? I'm going to be falling asleep right after this. Even if we went to war with the rest of the world, I don't think nukes would be involved. Only if we use nukes on someone would nukes be used against us, most likely. I very much disagree. The great leveler between a potential UK or between a potential EU-US war is nuclear weapons. That's the thing that evens the playing field the most, especially considering the logistical difficulty of invading across the Atlantic Ocean. Oh man, you are not kidding about this being brain rot. Holy shit.
Get me a bear claw. BWA.
Paladin, thank you for supporting stream. Rawr, that's my bear claw. Rawr. Nom 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 nom.
What happened to ultimately meaningless but very funny punishments? Imagine if Trump got sentenced with supervised hangout time with Senk and Anna for 3H.
Oh god. Oh god. Thanks, I hate this hypothetical. Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 gifted tier 1 subs. Now, let's see. In total, the US has about 1,770 nuclear weapons. UK and France have about 400. There's a potential for taking control of several hundred more, were they to attack US bases. It's possible. Things would not go well. Is that punishment meant for Trump or TYT? BWAs for me. Blasphemy. We got a little blasphemy up in here. That bear claw clip is pure dork and I love it. I strive to achieve the dorkable aesthetic. Yes, those are also the ones that we know about. It's a punishment for both. True. Did we see a sentencing yet or no? We did, Gem. We did. Well, Thready, the issue here is that, like, in a hypothetical war scenario, it would be a nuclear exchange, and in the nuclear exchange, both sides have enough nuclear weapons to completely incapacitate the manufacturing ability of the other. So, like, once we have nuclear exchange happening, the idea of landing troops across the Atlantic is laughable. The idea of there being, like, well, we'll just have a naval war now. No, like the world is done. the world as we know it is done. Let me put it that way. Humanity would survive, but the world as we know it is completely over. Like the countries impacted would be like practically dissolved.
BWA.
Paladin, thank you for supporting stream. Rawr, that's my bear claw. Rawr. Nom 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 nom. It's true. It's true. Nom 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 nom. Luckily, no one would care enough to nuke Australia. True. Ironically, Mad Max is the opposite of what would happen to Australia. No chance for going back to space? What? We would be able to go back to space. A cure for cancer or aging, probably not, but like, we don't have those now. Mad Max was in Australia? Yeah. Wait, does Trump want to nuke Canada? Well, he wants to invade Canada. I imagine that would trigger some kind of nuclear conflict. What's Mad Max? You're fucking with me. You know what Mad Max is. No? Oh, well, it's a badass series of films set in the apocalypse. Man, I love seeing the same events that happened to lead up to World War II. Right? Isn't it fun? We're getting a rerun of everyone's favorite geopolitical conflict. It was the best of times. It was the go fucking unionize of times. True. True. Hannah, thank you for the $5, £5.
Solidarity forever.
Don't know. Solidarity forever to you as well, Hannah. You look sleepy. I got 3 hours of sleep, so yes. You are correct in your assessment. He recently said he wouldn't do a military thing to Canada, but economic warfare. I think he's just jealous that everyone wants to escape there. I mean, like, again, this is why I'm not going to pay attention too much to the things he says because they're meaningless. He'll say anything, right? Like, saying things from him, they don't carry weight. It's just noise. It's just meant to, prop him up in the press. That's it. And, I don't know. I think we need to pay attention more to what he does. And like the economic incentives behind what he's doing. And I don't think that there's really a clear one here when it comes to Canada. When it comes to Panama and Greenland, those ones I see as like he genuinely has an interest in those. But yeah. Unionizing is going to be fun now that the NLRB is going to be openly hostile, right? Isn't that going to be great? Let it radicalize you. Oh man, Thready, I would love. I would personally not mind living on the Emerald Isle. I've always thought it was a beautiful place. Never visited. Would love to though. Not gonna lie, I think the world is fucked. The world is always fucked. Uniquely more fucked? Sure, but bad things happen every day on this planet. Geopolitically and otherwise. And you know what? We will make it through this together. Ah, yes, the leprechauns. I forgot. the national scourge of Ireland. Yes, but the planet is on fire. Yeah, and the planet's done that before. And the planet's been real cold before. Like, guess what? We were forged out of that. We'll figure out a way out of this one too. But like, it might not be pleasant, but like, doesn't fundamentally change that the human condition involves some degree of suffering. I know you mean climate change. I know what you mean. I'm just trying to like reassure you that like climate change is always fucked over people. Now, granted, man-made climate change is fucking more people over now, and that's not great. But we are going to survive as like a species. And through survival, we will always have the opportunity to do better. I mean, if he gets the military because of wokeness or whatever, we might be too devastated to carry out a meaningful invasion anywhere, really. Well, he's not going to gut the military, you know? Like, that's the big thing. Like, he's a dictator. You know, he wants to be a dictator. He wants to be a strongman. He's not going to gut the military. I've been radicalized since Obama bailed out the banks. Fair. I'm just tired of seeing people that say they're on the left capitulate to MAGA now, like TYT. Yeah, me too. Fucking enrages me. It's kind of why we've been on a TYT coverage kick and being more critical of their coverage. Hence the video that went up about an hour ago. You know, hence putting this out earlier today. I think this is good. I think this looks nice. I think it's a good thumbnail. It's about their failures with their coverage in recent segments. You get the feeling the Daily Mail is courting Anna? We'll see. When was the last time you did a peepo art? It's been a while. It's been a while. Maybe we'll do a peepo art sometime in the near future. At least you avoided the jank presidency timeline. God. That's fair, Rose. It'd be nice if people were more radicalized by insurance companies refusing them life-saving medical treatment here in the United States, but we don't live in that timeline in the US, unfortunately. Theoretically, you could come to Sweden, but why would you live in a place where it hurts your face in the winter? Yeah, why would anyone do that? Laughs a Minnesotan. LC, that's a good reason to be upset. You are valid. Morning, Zennies.
Hello, I just wanted to forward this dono from Johnny Canuck, the patriarch of the Canadian shrimp industry, with his message, don't stop resisting tyranny.
Oh man, I love the ever expanding universe of Riverboat Jack characters. Thank you for the $10 Canadian, Johnny Canuck. Yeah, I appreciate all the work you do in the vital shimping industry. Maybe a little bit inappropriate, forgive me, but would it be possible to go through some local Minnesotan news? Because there is this Minnesotan who lives Nemi, and she's really cute, and yeah, I'd like to have somebody to talk with her about. Nani? If you want local Minnesota news, you can get access to the online, like one of the biggest online newspapers in Minnesota is the Star Tribune, or you can also check in with the Minnesota Reformer. They're a really good, like, leftist, like, journalistic outfit. But also, no, I'm not going to cover Minnesota local news. MinPost is good too. MinPost is good too. I like... Minnesota is blessed with a lot of great local reporters. Really early Jack is really early. Very knifey duck. I want to gouge out my eyes. It's too early to have visual stimuli. I may have created a monster with the Riverboat Jack extended universe. Eventually we're gonna have to have like a murder night, you know, like you know one of those like murder mystery parties, just that, but with the various Riverboat Jack characters. I need to go back to bed, but I'm enjoying chatting. Me too. Also, we are only 225 subscribers away from hitting 10K over on YouTube, so hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Murder on the Riverboat Jack Express. What if you covered the local news of some completely random town in northern Canada? I did that already. It was Jim Water in the pool house with the swimming noodle. Very knifey duck, you are lovely duck. Okay, but Sam Cedar for some reason looks hotter when he's older than when he's young. Yeah, Sam ages like a fine wine. I don't know why, I can't explain it, but he ages extraordinarily well. Okay, your taxi driver was fucking with you. It is not cold and dark most of the year. It's cold and dark in the wintertime, but during most of the year, it's not that. Very knifey duck is a good person. They're a good duck. Yeah, Sam's a hot hunk of man. Okay. He's a hottie McDottie. He got that Steve Carell aging formula. Steve Carell has aged really well, hasn't he? Which is surprising. Like, you watch The Office and he does not look like a man who's going to age well, but good golly has he. Are we finishing Undertale Yellow tonight? I want to, yeah. Hassan is the hottest leftist. It's true. I'm working on it, but it's gonna be a while until I can make a stab at that title. Hey, Spectral Pyre. What early Jack doing? We were covering the sentencing of Donald J. Trump. I don't really see the appeal in Hassan. You don't see the appeal in like a fucking ripped dude who talks about like the struggles of working people in a digestible, approachable way. Like just I feel like it's pretty. I feel like the proposition, the value proposition is pretty straightforward. Hey, John Bainbridge. 8 minutes to Majority Report. We'll probably end when Majority Report begins. Not your type. Yeah, Shark Nation, not your type. It you know, mileage may vary. Look, I do think Hassan is hot. Where's the picture of him holding that dog? Hassan dog. Image. Like can we just take a moment here, like yeah, he's hot. Like I understand, you know, is he my jam? Not really, but like I get it. I get it. Medical Hassan. I know you're talking about Medi Hassan, but I really like Medical Hassan. Jesus Christ. I can't. Where did you find that, Paladin? How? I think his new dog is cuter than the old dog. His new dog is cuter than the old dog, but also like that's such a good picture of him. Hassan is hot in a way that I've never been attracted to. See, that makes sense to me, Amber Brains. That makes sense, right? Like, I understand that because a lot of people fall into that category for me where I'm like, they are attractive. I recognize they're attractive, but I am not necessarily like swooning over them, you know? Mehdi Hassan is really cute. I literally Googled sexy Cenk Uygur. I'm probably on a watch list now. I'm sorry, you Googled sexy Cenk Uygur and this was one of the images that came up? This was one of the images that came up? What? How is this a result? I'm so confused. Algorithm be algorithmic, I guess. He's attractive, but not my personal cup of tea. Yeah, no, that makes sense. You're more into dad bod? I mean, that makes sense. You're not into you're not into Hassan Piker, but you're into Hank Pecker. I get it. I get it. All right. Folks, I am going to be done. Well, we'll wait 3 minutes. I'll wait until the majority report goes live, which should be soon. Hey, since I asked you guys to hit that subscribe button, 3 more of you hit the subscribe button. Also, Folding Ideas just dropped a new video 26 minutes ago. And that's pretty neat. Do they have a Twitch straight into? I genuinely don't know. I haven't been awake this early to find out. But we'll give it a shot. Majority report. TMR? Does the majority report have a Twitch? The majority report. Thank you, Harold. Oh, they be livin'. They be livin'. I'm following them on Twitch now. Okay. The majority report. There we go. There we go. Raid time? We'll raid in like, well, we can raid now. All right, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you've enjoyed today's early fucking stream, hit the follow button on Twitch, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Please like the stream and consider dropping those subs and donos, because I rely on them to live. And this show is brought to you by viewers like you. And without you guys, I would perish. So y'all have a good day, folks. I'll see you at the end of it. Bye.
No more water. No more water. No more water. Fire. Fire next time. Come gather, my children, come gather to me. The sky in the west is as dark as the sea. The air tastes of embers, it claws at your eyes. And I hear the horsemen are following behind. No more water. No more water. No more water. Fire. Fire next time. Old Noah cried, hear me, the water will come and wreak mighty judgment on everyone. I warn you, my people, the time is not long for changing our ways, for righting our wrong. No more water. No more water. The people dismissed and denied and delayed. Long after the rivers were swollen with rain, and only when floodwaters swallowed their cries did the sign of the rainbow appear in the sky. No more water, no more water, no more water. Fire, fire next time. The Lord said your family alone has been spared, and all of creation I leave in your care. But do not mistake me, remember my sign. I'll send no more water, but fire next time. No more water, no more water, no more water. Fire, fire next time.
Thank you. Okay, before I go, I just learned how to redirect live streams. I'll try that next time I end streaming, or I end the stream. It's just really exciting. I finally figured out how to do it, and because I wanted to redirect you guys to the Majority Report's YouTube stream, but I can't. I don't have the permissions to do that. But I will try next time to redirect you guys into a better place. Hey, Dragonfly. Your name is the wrong color. You're an orange name. The Horror. Don't forget to occupy your local Democrats. True! All right, bye, everybody.